Hello, it's Anya from Digital Painterly, and I have today for you a very interesting one. It's one of my latest templates with this beautiful angels painting, and we're going to try to make this picture work with this one. So first of all, when you look at the template, just pay attention. What direction is the person looking on your image? Is it from above? Is it from below? And this picture, she's slightly captured from the bottom, so she's kind of looking up. So perspective is super important for making it work really. So we're going to first of all select her head roughly around here. It doesn't matter how far you go, it's just that neck area. We want to make sure it's here, and all her beautiful hair. So we're going to drag and drop it, and we're going to resize it. I'm going to change opacity, not so much, so I can see what I'm doing. So Control T to resize that head, and we're going to see roughly how far. It's not that, we don't have to make it bigger much more. Okay, maybe that's right, and tick. So we're going to bring up opacity again, and we're going to choose layer mask on the bottom here, and using the nice soft brush on 100 opacity, we're going to erase all the bits we don't need. Just be careful here around her, and don't panic if you go too far, because you can always come back. If you toggle into white, you can bring it back. So that's the beauty of a layer mask, always working on those rather than eraser. So I'm just going to go around her just a little bit more. Don't worry about cutting into hair too much at this point, because we're gonna use a fantastic feature of layer mask in a bit. So I'm just gonna make it a tiny bit bigger. So you might have to tweak a little bit. Let's get back to white and add her neck just a bit more. Perfect. It's a headache, isn't it? Going back, and 50% opacity. Oh, just make that edge a little softer, but obviously I don't want to see that blue bit, because that's no neck is in there. Yeah, I think that looks fine. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take that layer mask, and I'm going to double click. It's going to open special panel here, and here on the left you have the icon which is refine edge, I believe. Refine edge brush tool. And what I like to do it in one go. So I'm just kind of going over here, and it's going to think, computer's going to work. And okay. Oh, they made a bit of a mess, but don't worry. The most important bit is the hairline, and I'm just gonna go with the white brush, bring back on 100% opacity, bring her face back. So that's not a big problem when that happens. The most important is that beautifully cut out all the hair, because imagine doing that manually, that would be just absolute nightmare. So I'm gonna fiddle with that neck again for a little bit, and back and forth, and oh my goodness, maybe 50% opacity will be easier to blend it, and back again to white. Oh, because that edge is so close, I keep losing it. Maybe I'm gonna make my brush a tiny bit smaller. That's fine. There we go. Okay, I think that works now. Quite strong here. So we got that head tackled at the moment. Let's take it on and off. That's fine. That's done a nice job. You can sometimes see a little bit here. That's over, but it's such a light background she's in, it doesn't really matter. So just pay attention around her head once that masking is applied by computer, but that seems to be fine. So next step will be changing her skin tone, because obviously it doesn't match. So we're gonna press plus button here to create a new layer, and we're gonna go with multiply blending mode. I'm gonna choose the brush at 50%, that's fine, and then pick a color from her kind of darker area here, and let's see how is that going. And just gently paint it in, and don't worry if you go too strong. We're just going to decrease the opacity of it. Just go over. Okie dokie, and then opacity down, and you can kind of build it up a few times. I'm gonna go around her arms, and you could probably use different blending mode. I did also try overlay. It does gives a very saturated look, so as long as you take your saturation off, that might work, but that seems to be working the best in multiply. So I'm just going over her skin and arms here gently. It's not an easy task to match nicely the skin tone, but hopefully it will work in the end, and you can take the skin tone from her face and just mix it a little bit. That's going to be lighter here. So if you create those areas lighter, darker, it makes it more 3D, because if you just apply one lump color, one lump bit, it's not going to look good. So now I'm just going to choose layer mask for this area. It's a black brush and a 0 on my keyboard for 100% opacity, using my shortcuts. You can manually choose your opacity here from the top, or you can use your keyboard from 1 to 10. 1 is 10%, 0 is 100%. Just making sure she's not going over. Oops, I went too far. Gonna bring that back. And again, if you need to make it smaller, do. It's a very easy one because it's very painterly, this image, so you can get away with lots of things. And does her skin tone matches? She's got that nice light area here. We're just going to 20% maybe, and bring it in to her highlights areas. Okay, 50%. And just that neck area as well. Oh dear, I know what I've been doing. Painting on a mask, just reassuring that area. Often a mistake I'm making. And then press on the layer that you want to apply, because look what's happening now. Makes it lighter, does it? Yeah. And now it's working. Just a tiny bit, so there's a difference. And sample that skin again. Back and forth, and it will give you the best results. Go gently, go a few times, and it will eventually work. A little lighter, just going here. Great. So let's go back to her actually neck area. I want to lighten up this a tiny bit. So it's tweaking, constantly looking, and back to the mask, because I can see I went a bit too far with the black brush. making sure those edges are here, and I'm happy with that. So next bit, what we're going to do, we can now flatten the image. And actually, if we go back to the arms, so opacity 70%, and look what's happening if I have 100%. So that's making it darker, so you have to see how far you want to go. It might take a little bit of attempt. I think that's quite good. Yeah. So think about the lighting situation. Everything is very lit in this, very light anyway, so her skin will have a bit of a highlight, and that seems to be about right amount. And what we're going to do, I'm going to layer flatten image and just going to copy that. Now select tool. I'm going to choose the area, kind of large area, which hasn't got too many creases or bits like that. Maybe from her dress, that's a nice big shape. And Control J will basically copy just that selected image. I'm gonna drag it over. Trust the process. No, it seems bizarre, but just trust me what I'm doing. I'm gonna make it a little bigger. I'm basically trying to cover her face. Okay, and I'm gonna maybe merge those two layers and even out gaps between, because what we want to do, we want to have that gorgeous texture over her face, because at the moment everything is very textured. If you look at her at the close-up here, and her face is very much just a picture quality. So back on that, and now you can choose from different modes, and I've been playing with them for a while before I made this video. So you can either the ones I discovered worked really well with this sort of image will be pin light, or, and then you decrease opacity of course, or the other one, I think it was luminosity, it's the last one, that one here. Or was it? No, it's, yeah, but you have to really decrease it to see that texture. And let's see pin light, which I never use for anything to be honest, and this one was quite surprisingly working really well. Look how cool that looks. So choose the right level that you think is appropriate, and then again layer mask, our favorite tool, use that to kind of blend, because we don't want a double texture on that area. I want to take it off, back on. I'm making 50%, maybe take it to 20%. I just take a teeny tiny bit off the hair, so there's a little bit of definition. And probably what I'm gonna do, that's a close-up, 90%, and I'm gonna take it off the eyes. The eyes are gonna be more striking. Let's see how that looks. Okay, you can leave it at that. I don't know if I like that, to be honest. I think I prefer that blended with this. So I think leaving the eyes as well covered in this is great. And that's about right level. Let's see up close, maybe a bit more. So again, you can play with it and fluff and tweak a long time so it looks believable. And that was the same number that was before. And this is the final result. The other thing you can do is apply extra texture or extra cracked varnish look, and we can do that now. I'll show you in a second. So layer, flatten image. So these two images, which is texture and crack varnish, they are included in the pack. So let's see what we can do with this one first. Oh, it's massive, so we're going to make it smaller. I tend to just Control T and eyeball it. And now we can change the mode. Multiply gives the most kind of realistic look, in my opinion. The other one, there's another one, was it divide? Divide gives you opposite sort of color, so it will be light white, and it's a good idea to change the opacity. It might work for light color pictures, the white one with divide, or you might want to prefer dark varnish. I think it gives a really lovely effect. It's that extra vintage look. So that's the one thing. And then obviously you can change the opacity to make it a little bit more subtle, because I have a gorgeous skin. We don't want it to be too distracting. And then the texture. So I'm going to use my move tool, drag it over to this image, Control T, take it inside. Oh, I am always a bit clumsy when it comes to dragging things and applying. I'm sure there is an easier method doing that, but I'm still in 1995 with that. And tick yes, and then you can then choose again different modes. Let me just make it a little bit bigger. Control 0 always brings you to the kind of fills up the screen, and I like using that. And then choose different modes. Screen, oh, that gives a nice nice look. Remember, we're going to take the opacity down. Let's see, overlay kind of lives it up a bit, gives it extra color. Beautiful, I quite like that one. Or you can choose multiply. It makes kind of darker things stand out more. I'm not sure about that one. Overlay, that's the one we just done. I need to bring the opacity to see the effect. Lights. Oh, the hue gives a beautiful colors. I think it was overlay that I really liked, and just a hint. It doesn't have to be much, or you can not use it at all. It's up to you. So that's without, which is a nice and soft, and that's with. So with, because you're applying it to the whole image, it kind of helps it blend all together, which gives that illusion of that is the painting, that is all together. So it's always good to have that in that respect. It's just if you like it or not. That's the other thing. So layer, flatten image, and that's your picture ready. So let me know if you have any questions at all. There are many ways to do things differently in Photoshop. So for one thing, you can do it in 10 different ways, and that's the way I find it quite easy. And it might be that different pictures might have better methods doing them. It depends if they light, dark, what's the skin tone color. And obviously there will be lots of tweaking, lots of trial and error. But if you have any question, just let me know, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. So these are available. I'll leave you the link below where you can get them, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye.